Men's fashion editor of the New York Times Magazine was the first job I ever had in fashion. In terms of fashion, in the early 90s, men were discovering, designers were discovering sexuality for men. Remember, this is the period of, Versace's Miami collection. Every campaign was photographed with suits with no shirts and men walking down the beach. All the fabrics suddenly got flowy. Designers like Donna Karan got involved in menswear. And which may sound unique now, but when you realize it was a woman's sensibility in men's clothes, and what she was talking about, what made her clothes so unique, was that because she has such an incredible eye and hand for fabric, it was how clothing felt against the body. Not how clothing fit and how clothing looked, but how it felt. This was a new concept for men, to talk about feelings, sensation, sensuality, sexuality. The New York Times did not know what to do with this. Remember, this august body, which is now so liberated, remember, it was a long time before they stopped using the word gay as an adjective. They were fine as long as you photographed clothes that looked like they all came out of Paul Stewart. But there was Calvin and Dolce & Gabbana, and like I said, Versace, and Cavalli, and all these people suddenly discovering that men could be objects of desire too. And men like this. Women always worry about objectification. Men don't worry about being objectified. We like this, especially gay men. The New York Times, however, completely freaked out. Completely, to the point where if you had a photograph and two men were looking at each other, there was an issue. It wasn't that they didn't have a great appreciation for photography, they just didn't want to see men as sexual beings. I'm a gay man. I see all clothing as about seduction. I'll never forget, there was a photograph, it was done by Chris Whitkin, who's a terrific photographer. And the idea was to show stretch in fabric. And so I had a lineup of men, and they were moving in different directions, reaching, but from off the page there was a hand grabbing the shoulder of a man, oddly enough wearing a Donna Karan suit, and her fabrics always had stretch in it, and it was gripping the arm, and that person was pulling away. And my editor at the Sunday Times Magazine basically looked at it and said, "That picture looks aggressive. Can't you find a picture where the arm isn't there?" As a matter of fact, no, I couldn't. Nor did I want to. Honestly, part of me was furious, part of me was sympathetic. Again, this was not a problem that was solely the fault or the problem of the New York Times. Okay, this was the problem at GQ. At one point, this was the problem at Esquire, at one point as well. But in terms of how I see a man, how I want a man to be seen, how fashion goes forward. Now, of course, there's no issue. I mean, you open the Times, it's hard to even find a man in a suit. But back then, I was told by the editor-in-chief of the magazine, or the editor-in-chief of the Sunday magazine, that maybe these were great clothes for gay guys who like to dress up. It was always a struggle. It was always a struggle. Look, I think even now, even in this day and age, and yes, Dome is passed, and la la la, and everybody's just so damn open. Yeah. When a guy looks in the mirror, guys want to look cool. Okay? They don't necessarily but sexy and cool are not exactly the same thing. When a straight guy looks in the mirror, there's still a wonder. There's still a wonder. A lot of young people, a lot of young guys, gays and straight, have no trouble with their sexuality, but there's always that remark about whether something looks too gay or not.